as you can see, we've got Sam here. We've done some off-roading, little bits and pieces. He did a gearbox service on our car. We're going to have a cheeky look in the back of his car now. You would have seen on his video before he came on his travels what sort of stuff he did, roof tent, this, that and the other. But we're going to have a look, see what's in the boot. So let's have a look over here. Ta-da!
Well, should I do a mark?
Yeah.
A bit of a mark, bit of an overlanding forward moment.
Yeah. Sit on the tailgate and tell us what you think about Toyota drivers.
Proving everybody wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you guys might have seen on our video, we basically just did as simple and cheap a build as we could, just to basically make it work as an overland vehicle, and make it slightly less like you're just chucking everything into the boot and then having to drag it all out again. So basically all that consisted of was this bit of plywood, which is left over from building a workbench in my little shed at home.
Oh, we've seen that.
You've seen that on the video.
Yeah.
It literally just sits where the parcel shelf would in the Range Rover as standard. I never had a parcel shelf for mine. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, we've got both bits.
Have you?
Yeah, the bit with the blinds in it as well.
Yeah, and if you try and buy one, they're really expensive.
Yeah.
So. And then I'll just put another bit in there just to support it. And so it's a bit lived in at the moment.
Yeah.
But because we've been in it for sort of just over a week and a half now. But yeah, generally, I'll get these out of the way. This is my present from Ben. Nice sturdy tripod.
There's a story behind that.
Yeah. And then 2 camping chairs, nice big comfy ones. Can't be dealing with little weedy ones.
You don't want chairs that you're going to keep falling over.
Certainly. And then, so basically, it started off with me putting the Jackery in here. So this is a 1500 watt hour Jackery 1500 Explorer Pro, it's called. And this is in here pretty much solely for the reason of running the fridge, which I'll show you guys in a minute. But yeah, so you probably see these little mess of Anderson connectors here. These are like 50 amp Anderson connectors, which is the smallest one that they do. And I basically decided I didn't want to have any 12 volt sockets, so like cigarette lighter sockets, anywhere in the vehicle for this trip, because I just hate them. They basically overheat and they come loose and cause bad connections and get really hot, basically just set fire to your vehicle basically. So I decided I didn't want any of those. So the standard Jackery has a cigarette lighter in there, but we're not using that. And what I did was basically modify it slightly and bring out 12 volts to this plug here. So then from there I can run 12 volts to the fridge, which is constantly connected. And then I've got another socket here, which I use with another cable that I made up, which then runs up to the roof tent, which I'll show you in a minute as well. So the roof tent then has 12 volts running up to it for charging and lights as well, so that's quite neat. And that all runs directly off the Jackery. So here, where I added my original electrical panel, which has switches to control the rear lights, and it's also got some 12 volt outlets here and USBs, I also added a 50 amp Anderson connector in here, which is run directly to the main 12 volt power feed in the back here, the big thick red cable. And the sole purpose of this is to charge the Jackery. So the Jackery has this connected into the back of it, and then when we're on the move, I just plug this in like this, and the Jackery then starts charging off of the car's 12 volt system, so that keeps it topped up the whole time that we're driving. It will charge at about 100 watts whilst the car's running, and the fridge draws a maximum of about 40 watts, and that's only intermittent as well, so there's plenty of power coming in to keep the fridge going. So yeah, that's basically our power system. So the next up, this is my box of many things. Shall I pop it down on the floor for you to see? So yeah, this is my box of many things. This is basically my mobile workshop that I've got with me in the Range Rover for this trip specifically. I don't carry around this much stuff normally, but seeing as we were doing over 3,000 kilometres, I thought there's a lot of stuff that I'd rather have with me than not. So, top of the box, this is a JF Egwo, or EGWO, I don't know how you pronounce it, but this is a combined jump starter and an air compressor, a tyre compressor, all in one. So it's a 6,000 amp jump pack, which is plenty for anything this side of like a oil tanker. and then it's also got a digital air compressor in there as well. So really handy bit of kit, and we've actually already used it twice on this trip. Once for jump starting a lady in Chamonix with a van, and then once just here when we had a puncture on the front right. We used this just to put some wind back in the tyre. So yeah, really handy bit of kit. Driving in France, you always need to have spare bulbs, and it's probably pretty much a good idea anyway. So in here I've just got, I think these are a set of other Bevensey headlight bulbs. They're just the standard. These might actually be HIDs, I think. Yeah, so they're just normal HIDs, but just in case one of our LEDs packed up, we could have put one of those back in. We've got a charger for my Milwaukee impact gun and the Milwaukee big impact gun, which I use for wheel nuts and anything like that. Just makes it really quick to get the wheel off. Any other big bolts we'd have to take out. Makes it a lot less stressful if you can just whiz it off with one of these. So it's always, for me, it's worth the weight of carrying one of them around. WD-40 of course, goes without saying. Useful for everything. Hand wipes, because if you do have to fix anything on the car when you're on the road, you don't want to be then getting back into the car all dirty, so it's just nice to clean yourself up. Oil filter and an air filter, more just because I had these on the shelf anyway, so I thought if I've got them I might as well bring them with me. You never know, I might need one, do a random service on the road. You know, it's the kind of thing we do. Brake cleaner, again useful if you're working on anything, nice to be able to clean stuff up, do the job properly. Got a aircon belt, just because this is the only belt on my car that I've not replaced yet. So I've done the main accessory drive belt once already, which is nearly new, but this one I bought but never fitted, so I thought I'd bring it just in case that one happened to fail. Actually, I think it's not aircon, I think that's fan belt, sorry. So aircon's on the main accessory, this is just for the fan, so I thought I would bring that with me just in case. Sticky Velcro, useful for lots of different jobs. You can always stick something back together again, or get something to stay where it should be. Head torch, you guys see me using this on my channel all the time. Yeah, big proponent of being able to see what you're doing. And then I've got a few little electrical bits, which is just mainly not really for the car itself, but more for my own mods and things that I've done, like the lights and the wiring for the Jackery. If I needed to make any changes, I've got butt connectors, got some fuses here for the car, and a pair of crimps and things like that. Where should we go next? We've got a tyre repair kit which I've never used. We were considering yesterday when I had a puncture, using this myself and doing the job on ourselves, just to pull that nail out, screw out, and repair the puncture ourselves. And this is actually exactly the same kit, more or less, that the garage used on it anyway. So this is the real deal. You definitely can recover from a puncture yourself if you know what you're doing one of these. At some point I should probably have a practice on a tyre and just make sure I actually know what I'm doing. But yeah, it's all there. I've got some super steel in there as well, which is just like an epoxy.
You just need your Weetabix.
Yeah.
It takes some pushing through those things.
I've actually got a clip of him doing it, so we might be able to put that in there. A professional doing it.
Yeah.
So next, I've got a little kind of air suspension or air system repair kit that I put together myself. So just some 4mm tube, which is what the Range Rover uses all over its air suspension system. A little cutting tool there, which is really nice for cutting this stuff properly. Gives you a nice clean straight cuts. And then I've just got some joiners and T-pieces and connectors, and some of the, I think these are called Voss fittings, which are used in the valve blocks and the bags as well. So just some bits that I had laying around, but I just put them together, and that's quite a useful little kit. Then if you manage to damage any of the air lines or anything like that when you're off-roading, you'll be able to probably fix it with that. And then I'll get on the electrical side, multimeter, and this is a current clamp one as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, any kind of electrical testing, checking, that's really useful for. Ratchet straps, of course, can't go anywhere without ratchet straps. These are just some little ones. Yeah, lots of times when we've been off-roading, ratchet straps have saved the day, whether it's holding an axle in place on a Defender or all that kind of stuff. That just useful to have around. Like, you never know when you might need one. These are a bit little for that kind of job, but they're still useful. Getting to the bottom here, impact sockets for the gun, obviously, battery for the gun. I think this is some power steering fluid and some more epoxy. 3M tape, again, it's useful. These probably wouldn't be in most kind of workshop kits that people are bringing with them, but these are actually the gaskets for the oil cooler on the 4.4 TDV8. Only reason I have these is because it's one job I know that I haven't done on the car, and I know it would probably need to be done at some point, but you can't really predict when it's going to need doing. So I had these on the shelf, and I thought if I need to do them, I'd much rather have the parts with me. You know, I could have, if it was leaking, I could have set up shop here at Ben's and sorted this in a few hours. So that's always good. And that's the O-rings. Those O-rings in there for the oil feed as well, which is part of the same job. So yeah, we've got them with us had we needed them. And
cable ties, so
cable ties, yeah, of course. Just one size there, but yeah, always useful to have with you.
No gaffer tape.
Oh, that's a good point. I was just thinking that as I was looking through. Yeah, that's one thing I'm missing. I've got the 3M tape, but yeah, we could use some of the super strong pink gaffer tape. So yeah, the cable tie is definitely always good. One of my mates, Nick, literally goes nowhere without these, and like we've dubbed them the Steggle tie now because that's his surname. So yeah, Steggle ties always good. And then the last few bits, a set of hose clamps from Aldi, I think that is, Parkside. Quite a useful box just to have with you if you need a hose clamp. Some washers, a set of different size nuts, and then just some random screwdrivers, ratchet spanners, just a couple of bits, vice grips, adjustable nut, and then that's basically just to top up what I've got in my, because I've got a full Halford set as well, so there's a full Halford socket set in there as well, so this is just bits on top of that, so to basically cover as many jobs as possible. Hammer as well, of course. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now the toolkit that Sam's carrying is just a precautionary measure. Not saying that Land Rovers are unreliable. I know all you Toyota fanboys out there are going to be slating the Land Rover crew, but it's like Sam was saying, he uses these tools more for helping other people. Like helped some lady who jump-started a car, jump-started some lady's car. He did actually use the compressor when we was out off-roading the other day. He got a screw in his tyre. Precautionary measures, isn't it? If you're doing a lot of miles, you want to carry some stuff with you. Just, it's an insurance policy.
You'd rather have it with you than not.
Want it. That's it. Right, let's carry on.
So this is actually our latest purchase for the truck, and it's a Vevor 55 litre compressor fridge. So it's a proper fridge that's actually going to be able to get down to properly low temperatures as well, unlike a thermoelectric kind of cool box. This is the real deal. So 55 litres is pretty huge. For two people, it's actually pretty excessive. We've been able to have anything we want in here without thinking about what we need to, about fridge space. Basically, we can just pack as much in there as we want. At the moment, we're stocked up with a fair bit of cheese, some milk, beer, which are all ice cold. The fridge is at the moment, it says it's at -2, but it's actually probably a little bit warmer than that. It's about 1 degree, a monster. And it's been a complete game changer for a long road trip. Being able to have cold drinks whenever you want, plucked out the back of the car by my co-pilot there, is just such luxury when you're on the road. And then whenever you pull up to site, you're camping, you've got all your fresh ingredients in there. Cold wine if you want that as well. Cold beers at the end of the day. It's just massive game changer. So yeah, highly recommend this. This is, as I say, one from Vevor, which is a company I've used for a couple of bits in the past. This one actually has supposedly an LG compressor in it, which is supposedly quite a good thing in terms of fridges, if you know your fridges. And yeah, it runs really quietly, doesn't take much power, and seems to work pretty well so far. I basically took out one of the seats in the back of the Range Rover. You've got like a 60-40 split, so I took out the single seat, and then I used the original seat mounting points down here to put some eyes in position, and then we've just got a strap on the front handle and then a strap in the back going to the low tie down point, so the fridge is really well in there and it's not going anywhere. So yeah, bit of luxury on the road, can't beat it. So that's the tent. I'm not going to do it now, but it's obviously got a fly sheet up there, and it's got some little metal springy rods that hold that up and make it a bit more weatherproof when you've got rain coming down. But that's pretty much it. Bed is ready up there now. You just put the ladder up, climb up there, and you're in there with the nice lighting and phone charging and everything else you need. And then we've got the awning as well. I'll remember how that comes out. So this is a 270-degree box wing awning, we call it. Get this out of the way. So I can just walk this all the way around. And then what we normally do is we tie this off. We tie that off normally, because obviously it wants to try and spring back round again. Each of these bars has got its own leg, so it can be freestanding as it is now, but then you've also got a leg which can come down and just support it. If it's a little bit windy, that might be quite useful. And then the other nice feature on this one is that in each of these rods here we've got a LED lighting strip. So plug your power in at each end there, run it over to the Jackery, and you've got nice ambient lighting underneath, which is pretty good.
Nice.
So it's a lovely place to sit after a day's driving and have a nice cold beer from the fridge.
Probably should have dropped the car right down.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So then we can go in like that. And then just basically just rolling this up. Yeah, so this is basically a copy of a lot of ARB products and stuff like that they make for the Australian market basically, and yeah, the Chinese have basically just copied it, made it a lot cheaper, but it's still pretty good quality. When I was fitting it, it's got a huge aluminium extrusion on the back of it as well, so it's quite solidly made, and all the materials seem good, so far it's been pretty good. And the same goes for the tent as well. For what they cost compared to if you go and buy one of these from Tent Box or any of the other big companies, basically you'll pay 3 or 4 times what you can buy directly from China. So for my money, it's a pretty good bargain.
Marvellous. How'd you close that?
With some effort.
Yeah. Stand on the tailgate.
Yeah. And the gas struts are like the strongest thing known to man. So so you need a bit of a workout. They give you this little strap to try and pull it down.
Oh.
But it does take a good heave. Like that. And then you've got to tuck in the tuck all the insides in and make sure it's clear of the seal, otherwise it's going to all get wet when you're on down the road. And then try and heave it down. There's a little bit that needs tucking down there actually.
This is where you need 2 people.
Yeah, this is Kai's job normally.
You've probably done about 2,000 kilometres so far in France. What sort of miles to the gallon are you getting?
So we've basically been cruising on the French autoroutes at about 110, 115 kilometres an hour. So we've not been hanging about, but I've also not been racing basically. A lot of the speed limits in France 130k on the autoroute, which is pretty quick. And obviously with the roof tent on top, it's a fair bit more drag. So that's the reason I kept the speed down a little bit more. But with all that said, the dash is saying 9.7 litres per 100 k's, which if you put into English is about 28, 29 to the gallon, which is a bit less than I normally get if I'm just running around or just on a pure motorway cruise without any stuff on the roof. But overall, can't complain at that. That's pretty good to in my mind. A lot of people running Land Cruisers will see a lot less than that, so that's all I'm going to say.
Any breakdowns, mechanical issues?
Touch wood, nothing so far, apart from the tyre, which we did earlier,
Yeah.
which you can't really blame the vehicle for. That was some Frenchman put a screw in the track.
Some dirty tradesman.
Yeah. No, she's been good as gold. Yeah, not a problem. I did a fair bit of prep before we came, just things that I knew would be possibly an issue, things like the rear hub joints on both sides. I'm really glad I did those, especially with the off-roading we've done this weekend. But yeah, it's all about just making sure the vehicle's well serviced and prepped, and then this is what they're built to do basically. It's to do long distances in comfort, so it's nothing you know that she wasn't built for, so yeah, no problems.
We obviously went off-roading. Was this your first time off-roading in this, and what were your impressions?
It was, yeah, it's actually my first time I've taken the L322 off tarmac, which is pretty bad considering I've owned it for nearly 3 years. But my excuse is the UK doesn't have that much in terms of green lanes. It does have a bit, but not much. But then Ireland, where I've actually owned this car for most of my time that I've owned it, so more than 2.5 years now, has literally none. So there's no such thing as a green lane in Ireland. You could probably go down a bog track or something like that, but they're not officially recognised as rights of way, so I haven't done anything in it basically. But yeah, this was the first time, and as Ben and I have been talking about yesterday, such good fun. It's so good. It made me realise what I've been missing by not going off-road, because basically I did a lot when I was a lot younger, but yeah, I've missed it, and couldn't have been more impressed with how well both of these did on the tracks basically. I don't know whether the footage will be in this video or another one, but you'll see it wasn't anything too strenuous. It was kind of fairly tame tracks for the most part, but the few little bits that were kind of more challenging, these cars just absolutely walked over any obstacle. So all of the driver aids working really well. We both had our hill descent control on at one point, and yeah, it made it absolutely a walk in the park basically. So yeah, and then even more impressive that you can do all of that and then just press a few buttons on the dash, and then you're back into being a motorway cruiser, just heading down the highway at 110, 120 k's an hour in perfect air conditioned comfort. So yeah, can't do that with Defender, old one anyway.
So what have you brought with you this time that you probably wouldn't bring on another trip?
So I've not showed you what's in this box because it's probably a little bit embarrassing when you guys see how much cooking stuff we brought with us. But basically we had a grand idea that we would have a multitude of different cooking options, and it turned out we've actually only used one out of the 4 that we've got. So we've got a Kelly kettle, which Ben will put a bit of a picture up on the screen, show what that is, but it's basically an old-fashioned army style boiler basically that uses fire at the bottom. You make a small fire and you can boil water on it and cook on top. That's quite good because if you don't have any gas or anything, you can always make a brew or make a hot meal or something like that. We've only used that once actually to make a cup of tea, so that was worth bringing it 2,500 miles. And then we've got a jet boil, which is again great for just boiling water really quickly or making a quick super noodle or something like that. And then we've also got a normal gas stove, like a normal gas camping stove with the bottles, which we've done most of our cooking on, so you can fry meat and stuff up on top of that and make a proper meal. And we've also got a mini 2 kilowatts or 1 kilowatt air fryer with us as well, because I thought that would be a great idea. It would easily be run from the Jackery, which has a 230 volt outlet and can easily power a 1 kilowatt air fryer, but we just haven't used it basically. I thought it was a marvellous idea at the time, but it's kind of the kind of foods that you want to eat when you're in France particularly, and when you're camping, isn't really the same thing as what you want to have when you're at home on a Saturday night. So the air fryer would be good if you had the right kind of things you wanted to cook in it, or maybe I just don't have the right ideas of what to cook in it. But yeah, so we haven't used that at all. It's just sat in this box the whole way. But yeah, apart from that, we've been pretty efficient with our space really. This box here, I've just got all of my electronics and camera gear in there, drone. So basically this is all my stuff that I want to access quite regularly. So it sits up on top here. And then we've had, this is a little Bluetooth speaker system. We've had our clothes up on here at the back here. So yeah, just basically for easy access. One more thing here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, we've got a 3 kilogram dry fire extinguisher, like a powder fire extinguisher as well, just mounted on the deck there, which is always a good thing to have. Regardless of not if you're cooking on your tailgate or not, it's always good to have a fire extinguisher when you're going on any kind of trip. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is there anything that you could have done with that you possibly would get for your next trip?
To be honest, we haven't really wanted for anything on this.
No, all bases are covered.
Yeah, we've got our chairs, we've got our shelter, we've been able to cook anything we want, we've got the fridge. No, not really. I think better navigation, something like what the app you've been showing me would be quite nice. If we get that set up properly with a nice screen, that'd be a nice upgrade to the nav situation, especially if we do more off-road next time we do this. But yeah, generally we've had everything we wanted.
Are there any mods you'd like to do off-road wise to the car, or would you just leave it as it is?
It's probably due a set of tyres in the next year or so. These have been on the car for 3 years and about 35,000 miles, so they're kind of getting towards the end of their life and they're starting to wear on the shoulders a bit, so I might go for a new set of tyres. I'll probably go for the same ones again, just buy another set of Coopers because they've been brilliant so far. And now I know they can actually go off-road pretty good as well, even though they're pretty much worn out.
I will just insert that little drone clip here.
Yeah, they do all right.
Of our latest little escapade down the bottom.
About to get told off by the Hobbit when she sees the destruction.
The carnage.
Yeah. And there's one more thing that I'm missing that I should have really, which is a spare wheel in the same size as the other tyres, which I don't have. I've got the spare wheel under here, which is the standard 255 50 19, I think. What was I saying? Oh, the spare wheel.
Spare wheel.
Yes, I've got the standard one under there.
Will the spare wheel fit in the thing with those tyres on?
No.
So
some of you guys might have seen on Facebook a guy recently called Jordan, who I've been talking to, has done a really nice job of fitting a spare wheel carrier on the back.
I saw that.
Yeah. So he got that off a Discovery 4 and then modified it to fit the L322's bumper bar, which I think is a really neat idea. So that'll be something I'll probably be looking to do, because the other benefit of that is it then frees up all the space under the boot as well. So you've then got a huge amount more storage space for whatever else you want to do under there. Decent jack, or what else could you do under there? Anything.
Recovery equipment.
Yeah, exactly. Tools. Stuff that you don't need to access all the time, you can have under there, nice and low down. But yeah, apart from that, I've got all the lighting that I need. The lights are all sorted on the front. And they just work so well as they are, basically in more or less standard form, that I honestly I wouldn't go too far down the modifications route with it. So in similar fashion to Ben's, he's got a set of tyres and that's pretty much it, you know, and it can do a surprising amount.
I mean, if we was to do anything too extreme, I might consider some underbody protection.
Yeah.
For the radiator, the engine and the gearbox.
Yeah, exactly.
But other than that, I wouldn't worry too much.
Because if it's too extreme that you need metal bumpers and
yeah,
everything, then you're probably,
yeah,
you know, it's not off-road, it's not a kind of overlanding travel at that point, it's like extreme off-roading.
We don't get kangaroos here, so
yeah, exactly.
Don't need to cover the front of the car in bull bars. And
yeah, we've been enjoying our nice audio system that I did recently as well, it's sounding good. So we've just had, yeah, lovely trip so far, everything we've needed.
Excellent.
Travelling in luxury.
Yeah. So that's our little chat with Sam. his trip to France, and he's come and stayed with us for a few days, and his thoughts on the Range Rover and his kit and this, that and the other. So it's quite interesting. I hope you'll agree. So check out Sam's channel. You'll see some videos from out here and other bits and pieces that he's going to put out in the coming weeks or whatever. I've got a lot of editing to do now because I've got lots of footage. And that's going to be about it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next one. Bye for now.